Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well and teach well. And shalom to the hopeful elect, the Akim and Akwaf scattered around the four corners of the planet Earth. All right, I'm the brother Iraq with GMS Dallas, and I wanted to do a quick hit through the spirit, going into some news. All right, and we'll get straight into it. All right, the article says, according to Navy families, USS Abraham Lincoln sailors are trying to jump ship. All right, USS Abraham Lincoln sailors are trying to jump ship. All right, and this is a sign and a token from the Lord. All right, that basically the military men, the mighty men of America, of Babylon the Great, all right, they're through. Okay, U.S. military dominance, all right, is through. Okay, it's over. All right, and right now, as we speak, America is being strategically defeated, all right, by Iran. All right, the Strait of Hormuz, all right, has not been opened. All right, and they're straight up embarrassing. Okay, Trump. All right, and Babylon the Great on a global scale. All right, through the spirit and power of the Lord. All right, and it's a beautiful thing to see. Okay, so let's start here in Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 30. All right, but I'm going to start up at verse 28. It says, prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes and the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. All right, and the Medes, okay, you can liken the Medes, the ancient Medes, to basically the modern day Iranians, the Persians. Okay, let's look up Medes. Okay, it says a member of Iranian people who inhabited ancient Media, establishing an extensive empire during the 7th century BC, which was conquered by Cyrus the Great of Persia in 550 BC. Okay, so Iran being raised up in these times is prophecy. All right, and another nation that the Lord is getting ready to raise up, all right, or has been raising up over the last, several decades is the Russians. Okay, the Russians, man. All right, and we know ultimately that this is all going to culminate into World War III, in which nukes, ICBMs will be utilized by both sides. All right, but what we see happening internally inside the military of America is basically a fall, a decline. All right, a fat L.
Yeah.
All right, and when you look into the morale of the soldiers, right? When you look into the divisions that are arising within the military, right? Everybody got different opinions, different political views, right? You got people that join the military just to go to college,
Yep.
right? Just to pay off some loans to get a job. All right. Most people in the military didn't actually plan on fighting. All right. And the people that did actually plan on fighting, they getting worried. They worried. And they're realizing that they're not fighting for a cause. They're ultimately just fighting for the benefit of the small hats, all right, and the corporate elite in which the small hats control, and these technocrats. Okay, so it's a perfect storm, all right, that Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai has brewing up. All right. Look like you want to say something, bro. What's up?
Hey, because with that, with this whole Abraham Lincoln situation, there is a dividing of political views. There's dividing of with them being offshore for so long. It's been like what 9, 10 months.
Yep, the article's gonna go into that. Yep,
you got it.
But finish your point.
Nah. It'll go in after you read the order.
Okay, Khan. I'm gonna finish this out and then I'm gonna read the article. Jeremiah 51:29. It says, "And the land shall tremble in sorrow." Talking about the land of America. All right, and these people are already trembling, and these people are already trembling, and these people are already in sorrow. But this is just the beginning, right? Like the scriptures say, the beginning of sorrows. These people ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, and then they're not ready. On top of that, but you got it.
It says, "For every purpose of the Lord shall be performed against Babylon." All right, every purpose, right? Because the Lord has a series of plagues prepared for America, not just one. The Lord is getting ready to hit America with a multifaceted attack.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Famine, pestilence, okay, civil war, all right, amongst other things. Teeth the wild beast,
mm-hmm.
All right?
And all this happens in waves. It doesn't happen all at once suddenly. Well, it possibly can happen all at once whenever everything culminates. All right, but how about Shemaiah Shai right now? He's sending it, years at a time, months at a time, until it comes down to weeks and days. So how about Shemaiah Shai is doing everything in his own order? But you got it, Slack.
Yep, and 2 Ezra 15
mm-hmm.
talks about how the Lord is gonna smite this place with plagues, as before, right? Liken it unto the plagues of Egypt, right? Which when you read the plagues of Egypt, they happen over a dispensation of time, like they came in waves, as the brother said. So Jeremiah 51:30, it says, "The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight." Okay, forborne to fight. Let's look up this word forborne, man. All right. Because if you're looking at this thing through the spirit, this is beautiful. This is what we need.
Oh, yeah.
This is what we need, man. Let's look up this word forborne. All right. It says pitifully sad and abandoned or lonely. Second definition, unlikely to succeed or be fulfilled. Hopeless.
Dang. How about Shemaiah Shai?
Yep.
Putting that plague on America. Yep. Or Babylon the Great, a.k.a.
Yep. It says, "The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might hath failed." Okay, so what we're seeing, when we're going to get into the article, right? But they haven't even gotten to the hard part yet.
Nope.
Right? We know, according to prophecy, the troops, right, the northern army is going to be gathered into the valley of Yehoshaphat.
Yep.
All right, the Levant region over there in the Middle East. All right, so the troops are giving up now. They damn sure going to be tucking their tail when they get over there, and they're running into armies that have been preparing for them for decades.
Time. And just going to the point, because they're going to be like women.
Right.
And some of them are women.
Right.
So Yahweh Shemaiah Shai has got you in a big ultimate
in this verse.
Trick bag. So like you got it on.
Yeah, it's the next line in the verse, right? Because another thing too is these other nations have sincere hatred for America. That's another difference too. Like people in the military in America, they're in it for monetary reasons.
For a bag.
They're in it for status, or they're in for money, or they're in for the benefits, or just to get out of their situation. These people in these other nations, they're in the military to really kill some shit, man. Excuse my language, right? But specifically, America.
Yeah.
America is hated, right? That goes into that shameful spewing, okay, in Habakkuk 2. These are the nations, especially over there in the Middle East, that have been getting decimated,
decades.
Right, by America.
Small ass.
They can't wait. They can't wait. And matter of fact, Iran came out and said that. They said they can't wait for a ground invasion. For America to do a ground invasion, man. That tells you everything you need to know. Okay, let me finish this out. Jeremiah 51:30, it says, the mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holes. Their might hath failed. They became as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. And that's going into the actual, penetration, so to speak, of America. All right, in the form of, the ICBMs. All right, that the scriptures, outline.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this place is going to be penetrated. Isaiah 47:1. This place is no longer going to be considered a virgin.
Nope.
All right. So without further ado, I'm going to read a little bit of this article. All right. It says, according to Navy families, USS Abraham Lincoln sailors are trying to jump ship. The Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier has spent a record 250 days without making land, leaving its crew reportedly coming apart at the seams. Okay. It says it's only been a couple of months since the last time. Okay, let me skip this part. I don't give a damn about that. It says, jumping down, it says this week, multiple military publications, including Navy Times and Stars and Stripes, have been reporting that the Nimitz-class aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln has been facing cascading crises of morale and mental health in its crew, all naturally downplayed and hand-waved by the likes of Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth.
Oh, shit.
That demon.
Yeah.
All right? And that shows you, too, the wickedness and pride of Esau has gone so bad that there's a rift between the leadership and the actual men fighting the wars. All right? And that's an issue. That is a major issue, man. Okay? The scriptures say a kingdom divided against itself shall not stand, roughly paraphrasing. All right? And Daniel, I want to say Daniel 2, but I know it's the book of Daniel, right? It goes into those, the toes mixed with miry clay.
Yeah.
Right? Matter of fact, let me get that real quick.
Yeah.
Let me get that. Because this is an issue that actually really you can, this spans not only into, this is not contained within just America's military. This issue is also, there's also issues like this popping up within European nations. All right? There's a disconnect between the leadership, okay, and the actual military men.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're seeing how their countries are conducting themselves.
Orchestrated.
They're destroying their own nations.
Yep.
Right?
And if I may say, that's Rome, because Rome destroyed itself from within. That and their military was stretched too far. So it's the same thing reoccur. But you got it.
Yep. This is let me see where I want to start on this. Okay, this is Daniel chapter 2 and verse 40. All right, and like the header says, this is going into Rome. But Rome was revived in the form of Babylon the Great. All right, in the form of basically NATO and the EU. You had the Treaty of Rome that basically established the European Union. All right, it's either the European Union or the or NATO. Let's look up the Treaty of Rome real quick. All right, let's study. Let's get edified, man. Treaty of Rome. All right, when you type it in on Google, it says the Treaty of Rome, signed on March 25th, 1957, established the European Economic Community and the European Atomic Energy Community. It was signed by Belgium, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, and Western Germany, and went into force January 1st, 1958. Right? EC is what became the EU. All right. I forget what treaty it was that linked up NATO. Let's see. Treaty for NATO. Okay, yeah. Well, I know. Okay, let's read this. North Atlantic Treaty. Okay, so the NATO treaty is just the North Atlantic Treaty. It says the North Atlantic Treaty, also called the Washington Treaty, was signed on April 4th, 1949. It established the legal foundation for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, a collective security alliance across Europe and North America. All right, and this is important because in Revelation 13, all right, it talks about a beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, and that 7 heads and that entity, that beast, is a power structure that we see governing the planet Earth today, in the form of America and NATO and the EU. Okay, but let's go ahead and read this. This is Daniel chapter 2 and verse 40. It says, "In the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron breaketh all these, it shall break in pieces and bruise." Right? Because one of the reasons Rome was so dominant was because of the iron ore that they were able to refine and use and make into military equipment.
Yep.
You know, which gave them basically a edge.
Yep.
Over
bronze,
other nations, right? Bronze and other various metals.
Yeah, because bronze is a soft metal.
Yep.
Nickel is a soft metal, but that iron, it could cut through all the other.
Mm-hmm.
But you got it.
Daniel 2 and 41, it says, "And whereas thou saw the feet and the toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of iron, for as much as thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay." All right, because when you read up on this, Daniel saw a statue, right? He saw a statue, and I'm not going to go through the whole chapter, obviously, okay? But when you go up the chapter, you had the head,
gold,
right? You had the head of gold, right? You had the breastplate, which was of silver. And then you had, I want to say the thighs and the legs, or the thighs. See, I kind of want to read it now. Of bronze, and then the feet, which were iron and miry clay. And we're in the iron and miry clay right now.
Yep.
Okay, so let's just go back and finish this out. This is Daniel 2 and verse 42. It says, "And as the toes and the feet of something is the end of something," right? Your feet are the end of your body. Okay, your head is the top of your body. The feet are the end of your body, which means what? This is the end of this kingdom. This is the end of this rulership. Okay, Daniel 2 and 42, it says, "And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken." Okay, and that's what we see with NATO and the EU and America's military. It's strong on paper, right? We spend the most money. We got the best equipment. We got the nicest chin straps, right? And all that good shit. Nice military tech. But when you really look at it, it's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a big ass, unorganized mess.
Yeah. And that's the intricate details of it. And the intricate details, they don't have, what they need to continue or to sustain themselves. All right. And that statue made me think of whenever Jacob held first the hill of Esau, because that's going to be a part of this pulling down of this system as well. But that's a lesson for another day. What you got?
Yep. This word coming out is causing division. It's causing strife and contention within America.
Yeah.
And like the elder in GMS Mississippi, he always says this about the word, because the word is likened unto water. Water seeps into every little nook and cranny, right? It gets everywhere. It gets soaked, right? So this word has saturated the whole of America, and that includes individuals in the military. Best believe a lot of niggas in the military know about the Israelites. They know, right? They know about the Israelites. They know, right? So it's all beautiful, man. This is verse 43, Daniel 2 and 43. It says, "And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay." Right? Because you have nations in NATO that don't actually have the same goals and the same what's the word I'm looking for? Agenda, mindset as the initial treaty was created.
And a good nation to say, Turkey.
Right, that's what I was thinking. Right.
Because Turkey's actually playing both sides.
Right.
But you got.
And that's why the scriptures say that NATO is going to split. NATO is going to dissolve. And what does the scripture say in Revelation 17? Let's go ahead and get that. The horn shall hate the whore and burn her with fire. Let's get that real quick. All right.
The beast shall hate the whore, I
think. This is Revelation chapter 17 and verse. No, that's not what I want. Not verse 10. It's at the end of the chapter. This is Revelation chapter 10 and verse 16. It says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore is America, and shall make her desolate and naked," meaning destroy her, "and shall eat her flesh, and shall burn her with fire. For God hath put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled." Right? So the 10 horns, right, which represent nations that are within this system, right, within NATO, they're going to turn on America. And that's why you read about Obadiah 1, right? Those, see, that's why we're bringing it out.
Yeah.
Because I need to touch up on this a little bit. Right? Let's get this in Obadiah 1. All right. Obadiah 1. It says, Obadiah 1 and 7. It says, I'll start at verse 6. It says, "How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up?" Right? And that goes into this as well. Because again, Esau being exposed, right, being consumed by the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahshua's mouth, it has led to this shameful spewing. It has led to the credibility and the of America being destroyed, completely destroyed. It's led to the small hats being identified as the problem on the planet Earth. All right, and those things are needed in order for all these prophecies to play out. Okay. Says, did you have a precept?
Well, I was going to go next. Is it 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 8?
What, consumed spirit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 8. But if you're in the middle, I don't want to stop you.
I finished that verse if you want to grab what you got.
2 Thessalonians. I'll just get straight to the point. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 8. It says, "And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom Yahweh Shem Yahushai shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming."
Right.
And that's what Yahweh Shem Yahushai is doing right now.
Yep.
He's making everything be known.
Yep.
All the wickedness, that you can perceive and know that's going on with the elites, and really naming the small hats for who they are, because they have been trying to beat us this whole time, right?
Yeah, that's a major domino that had to fall.
And like whenever they got revealed, this whole pyramid scheme came to fruition.
Right.
But all this is leading up to World War III, which is going to be everything. Everybody's going to really understand and realize what's really going on.
It's like Jenga, like the game of Jenga.
Yeah.
Like when you pulling a block out.
Yeah.
The blocks that you pull at the bottom cause the most instability. You know what I mean? In the tower. And that's what the Lord has been doing through the Spirit. He's been pulling pieces out from underneath Esau's system, his setup.
Yep.
And it starts, like brother saying, it starts with the word.
Yep.
Okay. So back here, I'm gonna finish this verse, Obadiah 1:7. It says, "All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border," meaning basically made war with you, right? It says, "The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee," okay? And peace, when it says we're at peace with thee, it's meaning in covenant with, in agreement with, right? Going into those agreements and treaties that we just talked about. It says, "and prevailed against thee," right? So not only are they going to turn, but they're going to be successful in turning on America. All right? It says, "They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him."
Okay. And that's funny because you know how they're going to prevail? Because Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai is with them. All right? Just like whenever Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai was with us in the moment of our battles, we always prevailed. Whenever the Most High held back the sun from moving so we can win before the Shabbat, you know, all that led up until this right now. How about Shemi Al-Shai is moving and they don't even know it?
Yep.
But you got it.
Yep. So continuing on this article, it says, "It has even been reported that not one, but multiple sailors have in recent weeks attempted to jump overboard from the Abraham Lincoln as it remains stuck in endless deployment thanks to the failure of Trump administration to end the Iran war. The ship has been at sea for more than 250 days without any return to the land, a record for a U.S. aircraft carrier in modern times." Okay, and that's what that Psalms 140, right? The bloody man. Okay, continually is he gathered together for war. This is Esau, man. It's plain upon tables. All right, and there are consequences for conducting yourself like such an idiot, man. This is all going to backfire, and it is backfiring.
That's all you have about Shemi Al-Shai.
Okay, let me see if there's any more I want on this.
Oh, they pulled that video.
Oops, it counts as being thwarted. It says the military papers have published the accounts of families in particular, saying that they're worried for not just the safety, but the mental well-being of their loved ones abroad, the Abraham Lincoln, amid accounts of those sailors being thwarted in apparent suicide attempts involving leaping from deck or railings of the ship. Okay, and I'm not going to read all this, but I just wanted to get those highlights. Okay, basically have family members of these soldiers, basically coming out and speaking up, right, against America, against what's being done. Okay.
Well, before you end it, you know, people. This is hearsay. You know, we got to say it like that. All right, but it seems like there has been a clash on the ship, and you know, Elder Malcolm brought this out. You know, there's been a deadly crash. You know, between co-workers. You know, and like 7 people died.
What, on this ship?
On Abraham. Yeah, 2 days ago.
Oh, they're saying like the soldiers are fighting one another.
Fighting one another.
That makes sense. I mean, if niggas is tired and want to go home and mad, shit, got weapons and training.
Jake, you know,
that's
but
believable. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So 7 people was put to death and others was injured.
Yeah.
So, but they're not going to bring this out
right.
in the media, yeah. Right? Because then they would really put it into the war.
Yeah. Whew. I'll read this last part. It says most of these problems flow from the simple fact that an aircraft carrier, says Abraham Lincoln, is simply never supposed to be away from any port continuously at sea for nearly this long.
Yep.
It originally left San Diego in November of last year. It was bound for the Pacific, but was then redirected after the Iran war began. This deployment was originally scheduled to end in May, but has now been extended multiple times with no end in sight.
Mm.
Okay, so there it is.
Yep.
All right, there it is. There's no no end in sight for Esau's wars. Okay, and we know this is all going to lead up to what? The World War III and the chip being implemented.
And so that shows you that you were deployed, but you wasn't supposed to come back home.
Right. The scriptures say, he who letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. All right, so it's not going to stop.
Nope.
All right, this is only going to escalate until the will of the Lord is fulfilled. Okay, and the will of the Lord is for major catastrophic destruction take place on the planet Earth, abroad and here in America. Okay, so hey, I believe the point was made on that. Just wanted to go into that and touch on it. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. With that, I give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash, and shalom to the next lesson.